Good evening, everyone, and warm welcome, dear Cedric Prakash. As Vince Lombardi gratefully says, leaders are made, they are not born. They are made by hard effort, which is a price which all of us must pay to achieve any goal that is worthwhile. Here we have a great leader who keep boosting us throughout our journey. That is none other than Cedric Prakash SJ. He is a human rights activist, and all of us we know he is our own brother. He is a Jesuit priest. He was named Chevalier of the Legion of the Honor, one of the highest civilian awards, acknowledging his commitment to the defense of the promotion of human rights in India. He has been awarded numerous other awards like Rafi Ahmad Kidwai Award, Kabir Puraskar by the President of India, Minorities Rights Award by Government of India, Mother Teresa Award for Social Justice in 2013. And we all of us know that he moved to Beirut, Lebanon, and now he is amongst us. He is in India doing a lot of works, encouraging us, as we already heard 2 days ago in live India Today. He was addressing and answering the questions of Rajdeep. So here he is amongst us. So we warm welcome you, dear Father, for this discussion on Stand with Stand. A warm welcome to you, dear Father.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Richard. Thank you, Zubin. Thank you, John. Thank you, all my younger brothers who have been involved in getting this webinar together and giving me the honor and privilege of being with you this afternoon. Thanks very much to Father CG and the Ascendancy Development Office and all his team there who's working in communications, who are working in a tremendous effort to highlight what is happening in the country today. I like interactions. I like to be challenged. I like when people ask questions. So in the course of, you're free to interrupt me, and I would keep a longer time for interaction. But let me base my sharing on two interrelated dimensions. First, on the reality, what is happening in our country today. And secondly, this whole dimension of standing with Stan, because they cannot be removed or divorced from each other. Both are very interrelated. What is happening in the last several years is the emergence of what we call a fascist state. There was a young member of parliament who was there of the Trinamool Congress, Mahua Moitra, who spoke about the 14 elements of fascism, which was there, written long ago, and which is so applicable to India today. What is happening? First of all, we have the hegemony of a powerful supremacist group who believe in a one nation, one ideology, one language. You know, it's a hegemony on the rest of the country. And that we have to be very, very clear. Secondly, they are very, the, the very concept, the spirit, the word of the Constitution is hurts them tremendously. What is enshrined in the preamble, what we got on the 26th of November 1949, is something they dislike. Justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity. So they are doing everything they can to change the sum and substance, the idea and spirit of the Constitution of India, which in a way symbolizes what India is all about. We had a great Jesuit, Father Jerome de Souza, there of the Madurai Jesuits, was part of the Constituent Assembly. a great Indian Jesuit. We have a book written on him. There is the national government has put a stamp on him, and so on. So these are the people, men and women, who contributed with the vision of Nehru, with the likes of an Iron Man like Sardar Patel, who kind of even banned the RSS, because they were against the idea and spirit of India. They wanted of India not merely a democratic setup, but they wanted the pluralistic fabric of the country to thrive, to be alive. Now, what we are seeing is an emergence of a group uh, who do not want that pluralistic fabric to, to flourish in India. And they give very weird arguments. The third is what we have seen in very, very effective manner: the marginalization, the denigration, the demonization of, important segments of society, the Adivasis, denying them the rights, calling them Vanvasi, not the original inhabitants of the land, ensuring that there are policies where the forest is concerned, where the land is concerned, that the Jal, jungle, or Jameen is no longer theirs. The Dalits, you know, literally trying to disenfranchise, vast sections of the population, just as they did it, to the blacks in the United States of America or in other parts, make these subalterns subservient, the OBCs. Then we have the minorities. You see, even with the start of this pandemic, how the Muslims were conveniently blamed for spreading the virus, which is all false. You know, there were lots of things. We had here in Ahmedabad this Namaste Trump, and we had lots of the spreading of the virus during that time. Here in Ahmedabad in Gujarat, there were no Muslims involved. So the way they denigrate, then there is the whole bogey of conversions where the Christians are concerned. You catch a pastor, beat him up, destroy his prayer hall. This is happening, you know. And then you have a member of parliament, even, when this FCRA law was brought in, denigrating the likes of Staines, Graham Staines, his two sons. He was helping the leprosy patients there selflessly, without. So there is a whole move to denigrate, to demonize, to exclude whole sections of society, and that we need to see. It is not about just one section, but in a systematic, calculated manner, this group has been trying to show that the other is bad, the other is evil. And the point is, even in the opposition in India, the political opposition is fragmented, is divided, is not together. So it makes their task very easy. We have this other dimension: anybody who's visible and vocal, human rights defenders, who stands up and speaks up, who speaks out the rights of the citizen, you know, are immediately, there is investigation, there is hounding being done, intimidating, harassment, and so on. So much so, people either give up, people are co-opted, people are bought up, and then finally, there are false cases fabricated on you. You are incarcerated, put in jail, and so on. The Bhima Koregaon, that whole event of a little over 2 years ago, was about the rights of the Dalits and how they needed to assert themselves. A lot of violence was created by the RSS and their goons, and that everybody knows. And already there were complaints about them. Finally, they began a whole dimension of trying to attack anyone who was supporting the cause of the Dalits in India, of the subalterns, of the marginalized groups. And the latest victim in this case is our own brother, Tanswami. But there are lots of others, 8 or 10 others, people from the Kabir Kalamanch, Sushma Bharadwaj, Anantel Tumde, there is Gautam Navlaka, there is Vernon Gonsalves, there is Arun Ferreira, a lot. And some of them have been our colleagues, we have been together with them. okay, all these years, and we know them. Um, okay, these are people committed to what is happening, to the idea of India, what is happening in the country today. Then there is this other dimension of which is very, very important, is the way they have co-opted the media. We call it godified media, you know. So this case, which Republic TV has been all about, buying up their TRPs, and now the CEO of Republic TV is caught up, and pure lies. It's a strategy. You co-opt the media, you have it on their side. So we have practically no media either in the vernacular press, um, or in the mainline English press, both in electronic and print, that can be very visible and vocal. They are denied government advertisements. They are hounded. What has happened to NDTV and so on? I can give you case after case. A person like Gauri Lankesh there in Bangalore was killed just because she took a stand in that Kannada paper which she was the editor of. Yeah. So once you're visible and vocal as media, yeah. There is a final thing, in their whole strategy. What is happening? They are able to co-opt and have on their side the corporate sector, and that is important. We need to look at it in a very, very, very close way, and to find out who all are in the corporate sector. Unfortunately, a lot of them have studied in our Jesuit institutions, and that is something that we Jesuits need to look into. Who are the people? Who are the chief? They have patted our backs. They have said, "What wonderful fathers you are." They have said, they have brought us flowers, they have gifts, given us whatever we wanted, and things like that. But if Stan is in jail, none of them will stand up and speak out and say what is happening is wrong. Having said this, there's plenty. I can go on and go on and speaking on what is happening in India today. It is serious. We have never reached a stage as India is now. And then I can speak about economic, I can speak about demonetization. I'm saying the way corruption has gotten, Rafael scam, what is happening to the judiciary. And I can go on and speaking about what is happening in India today. But I think I will stop with this first part just to say that what is happening in our country today is not merely serious, it calls for an urgent and a response in which we need to act cohesively, we need to act collaboratively, we need to be accountable to our future generations. We are accountable for the people of tomorrow, and they are going to point our fingers at us if we have failed them. This is the time for us. We have a whole movement called We the People, and I'm part of that. There are people like um, some are Yogindra Yadav and Prashant Bhushan, Medha Patkar, Tista Setalwad, John Dayal, Shabnam Hashmi. Several of the most eminent people are there in this group. And we have begun a whole campaign from the 2nd of October till we go on to the 26th of November. Even the anti-CAA, which I forgot, the ones protesting, I mean, that CAA has to be protested against. It is against the constitution. What is happening in Kashmir, the way they have denied the Kashmiris their rights, and so on. The way they have done what is happening in Ayodhya, the building of the Ram Mandir, the Prime Minister going and sitting for you don't do this in a country which has vowed to secularism. These are serious issues, and these are issues that need to be addressed. You're my younger brothers, people like Stan, like me, and several others. We are in our twilight years. Stan is 83. I am a little much younger. And Stan is one of those great icons. We have had excellent people who have lived the faith justice mandate, kind of inspired by the likes of Pedro Arupe, who started the Jesuit refugee service, who gave us a certain vision, who fought against every kind of violence, very especially since he was there in Hiroshima. He saw what happened in Hiroshima and Nagasaki as a novice master there. And he stood, look at his writings, look at what he was been saying. He was a man with a tremendous amount of compassion, but filled with the Ignatian spirit. And today, from GC32, I was born in the society in GC32. That was the years of my novitiate. And it came very slowly, those documents. But somehow the other, me and my companions and several others of our generation inspired, kind of inculcated and was inspired by the letter and the spirit of General Congregation 32. This was way back in between 74 and 76, 77. That was the time. And it was the faith justice mandate that kind of inspired us, that motivated us, and so on. We have had successive general congregations. After that, we had 33, 34, 35, and many of you have been there and present in the Society of Jesus when we have had the 36th general congregation. And that general congregation is very clear: row into the deep, go where no one dares to go. You read, we have our brother Pope Francis there at the helm of the affairs in the Catholic Church. And I think it's very important to read what he said to the fathers of the General Congregation and for his own inspiring spirit, because he was very inspired by the likes of Pedro Arupe. He quotes him very often, and of course, he quotes St. Ignatius of Loyola. So, having said this, how do I look at our response as Jesuits? Our response, I will never say your response, because it always has to be my response to. Today we have Sunday, Stand with Stand. And I would like to use both stand and stand as an acronym. STAND. Stand and the D. Stand with stand. My first word in this is synergy. Synergy is a technical term not used very often. Is about being together, working together, collaborating together, cooperating together. It has many synonyms. You look at the word synergy, and we need to create the synergy in us. Synergy is something strong. It is motivating. The best example of a synergy that is given in leadership programs is the V formation of the geese, of the birds, that migratory birds that fly long distance. And there are many dimensions of these birds when they fly. Um, and we have a lot to learn from the geese, you know. So there is a common direction. There is a sense of community that can get them when they are together quicker and easier, because they are traveling on the thrust, THRUST, and also the TRUST of each other. The flapping of the wings, aerodynamics, and that's how aviation has come into being, is because of the energy they give one another. This is the time, my dear brothers, whoever is listening to me, we have to give that energy, that synergy to one another. And for us Jesuits, we can get it only from the spiritual exercises. This is what our UAPs are talking about. How do we get depth from the spiritual exercises? How do we communicate it? How do we care for our environment? How do we walk with the poor? How do we ensure that the youth are accompanied? It is with synergy. We have to give each other this synergy. And there is a sense of formation. I am speaking to you all, mostly those of you who are in formation, those of you who are will be at the helm of affairs of the society here in South Asia in the next few years. But I think it is very important. But here, the geese try to provide to each other a co-responsibility. It is a shared task. It is not only just one person who's leading the group, but it is a responsibility that is shared with one another. Can be shared, doing the hard jobs, leading, at times, sometimes falling back, sometimes maybe being silent, but also in the V formation, you're very visible, and also they honk, they're very vocal. Okay, to take a stand for Stan, we cannot be praying only. Remember, I'm saying praying only. We cannot lock ourselves in the chapels. This is what St. Ignatius wanted, that his men get outside both the church compounds, the cloister compounds, our convent compounds, and get and smell of the sheep. Go out, be among the people. This is what, because we are too much in our comfort zones. The geese are not in their comfort zones. They are visible and vocal. And whenever somebody is sick, they fall back. The two, you do a Google on this geese formation. There is a tremendous amount of synergy. This is the energy at this time. Tomorrow, when we have the national protest, how do we get many of our friends, the youth, our colleagues, the religious from men and women from other congregations involved? This is not only a protest about Stan. This is a protest about the future of India, about the idea of India. We are not standing only for Stan, remember that, but for all those who are incarcerated, for all those who are in jail because they have been defending the rights of the poor, the marginalized, the Adivasis, the Dalits, the OBCs, the women and children of our company, of our country. And that is important. How do we stand with these people? With Stan has just our icon and emblem. We have any kind of synergy. The spiritual exercises in Ignatius calls us for a transformation. We need to have a transformative experience. Stan working with the Adivasis all these years brought about a transformation in their lives. He empowered them. He gave them a sense of identity, of their own identity. He gave them a sense of dignity. The transfiguration is a transformative experience of Peter, James, and John. But the transfiguration does not remain at Mount Tabor. When Peter says it's good to be here, let us build 3 tents. It is in the midst of the people. How do we, as students, as scholastics, as young Jesuits, ensure that this transformative experience, uh, um, with trying to emulate people like Stan and the others who are in jail just now, okay, affects our lives in a very profound way. And we bring that transformative experience to those who need it so much in our society today. The poor, the marginalized. There are millions of our migrant workers who have nothing to eat. There are daily wagers who have no jobs. And our country is heading to doom. But we can become, however small we are, you know, just like Ignatius and Peter Faber and Francis Xavier, we can transform the world. We can be the fire that ignites other fires. Availability, that's my third word. Availability. A. A Jesuit has been known for his availability. Always. We saw it right from the time when the plague struck Rome and they had nowhere to go, so they were available to serve the people. We saw it, Ignatius and his first companions, and throughout the history of the society. Okay, we have had excellent Jesuits. I know one great Jesuit for me is Rupert Meyer. Okay, he's the apostle of Munich, and yet to be canonized. I'm hoping and praying that he's canonized soon. His feast is on the 3rd of November. Um, he was available. He was available to the youth of his time. He spoke against the Nazi regime. He wrote against them. He mobilized the workers. And look at the man like Hurtado and the others, great Jesuits from different parts of the world in different times. And we have wonderful Jesuits in our assistancy today too. all kinds of people. You know, maybe they are not in the limelight, but they are doing tremendous amount of work accompanying the ordinary people, the simple people in their quest for a more humane, just, equitable, and fraternal society. Fratelli tutti, as Pope Francis reminds us. The fourth is networking. We cannot do it alone. We cannot do it only as Jesuits, nor can we do it only as church. The church in India has been too silent, and we Jesuits have been afraid to take a stand. Okay? What are we afraid of? What are our fears? Jesus says, fear no one. And our general congregations, especially GC 36, and even the UAPs, tell us to be fearless. One way by showing that uh, that we can overcome our fears is by networking. There are many in civil society. Stan is now the added on. All the others are non-Christians. All the others, perhaps Vernon Gonsalves and Arun Ferreira, I will not even ask them whether they are Catholics. Though Arun Ferreira has, his uncle has the auxiliary bishop of Bombay, Alvin de Silva. He has another uncle, has the Jesuit of the Bombay province. His two aunts were nuns and so on. I will not ask Arun whether he's a Catholic or not. For me, that is irrelevant just now. Okay? I will not ask Vernon Gonsalves, who also studied in my school in Bombay, Antonio de Souza, whether he's a Catholic or not. For me, that is irrelevant just now. For me, what Pope Francis is saying in Fratelli Tutti is a movement from the darkness that has enveloped our country to more effective and meaningful discipleship in our country today. How can we say that we are formed our students in our institutions as men and women for others? For whom? To make the rich richer, to be able to exploit the poor, to destroy the forests. We are talking about environment, and very often we Jesuits have relegated environment, okay, without reading Laudato Si, to cosmetic actions. We are growing trees, we are not using plastic, we are putting off lights. All that is good and important. But Jesuits, if they have to bring that transformative experience to society, must do it. The Western Ghats is just being destroyed, right up from here, from Gujarat, right up to Kerala. How many of us Jesuits have been involved? You know, the government has been auctioning coal blocks and destroying the livelihoods of the Adivasis. How many of us of Jesuits have been involved? Stan was involved. What about the Aravali, which starts here in Gujarat, goes right up to almost West Bengal, the whole Ara? How many of us Jesuits have been involved? These are the crucial and critical environmental issues which we Jesuits need to get involved. Stan was involved. He spoke about the forest rights of the Adivasis. He spoke about Pesa. He spoke about Patalgarh. And so, and this was what rankled. And he is asking, if you have read, if you have heard his video, tell me what is my crime. I've only stood up for the Constitution. I've only stood up for the rights of the people. This is STAN, synergy, transformation, availability, and networking. How do I network with others? Then there is
Cedric,
the D factor. Yes.
you have 2 more
Yes.
minutes.
Yes. Okay. The D factor is the last. Okay. The D factor is dedication. There is in the early 50s, late 50s, and early 60s, there was a great Englishman, Douglas Hyde, who wrote a book, Dedication and Leadership Technique. And he said, if the Catholics, he was with the Communist Party for a long time in UK. He wrote a fantastic book called Dedication and Leadership Techniques. If we Catholics had a bit of dedication, okay, with dedication that comes from discernment, which is the hallmark of us Jesuits, we would have made the world a better place. Standing with Stan on a Sunday like this, on the eve of the National Protest Day, is a time for us, my dear brothers, to try to see whether we can inculcate, can imbibe these 5 Ignatian qualities of having synergy, of working towards a more transformed world, of being available to others, of networking, collaborating with others, and very specially being totally dedicated to the person and message of Jesus to our society in our world today. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Thank you, Cedric. Thank you for giving us the 5 qualities of Stan. So now I request the floor to raise questions, and requesting John Messi, you will be bringing those questions they are raising in the YouTube channel. So now over to our coordinators of Digital Jesuits. Over to you. You are most welcome to ask your questions.
Be strong. You are welcome to challenge me anytime.
Okay, over to Newton.
Hello, Father. Good evening.
Good evening, Newton. Yes.
The question I have, Father, the Father Stan has been from our family, but for decades he has been working for our Adivasi people, brothers and sisters. My question is, at this situation, what response do you get or are you getting from that our Adivasi people?
To tell you frankly, I know some groups that are working there in Jharkhand and so on. They too have come and protest outside. They're concerned, but many of them have also felt that the Society of Jesus there has not been fully supportive of Stan. Okay, that is, I mean, Stan's hounding and so on has come long ago. I know how Father Prashant Olalekar of the Bombay province got, the students to do a whole there outside during the 150 years. I'm an ex-student of that, but there was no vocal and visible response from the Society of Jesus. What are we afraid of? And many of the Adivasis feel if there were more Jesuits like Stan accompanying them, if they were visible and vocal, standing up for the rights, their lot would be much better. I know that. Thank you, Newton.
Thank you. What to Nibin? Nibin, are you there?
Okay, Nibin just sent a message as like asking others to ask. Okay, can I go for it?
Yes,
yes, John.
Hi, Father Cedric.
Hi, John. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you. Thank you. You're a hero for many years. Yeah. So,
No.
Anyway,
all of us are heroes.
Yes. Thank you. Just to ask you, Father, directly, like many of us are concerned, especially during this pandemic season, what is happening all around. The point one is whether we can gather in this situation. Are we allowed to gather? Of course, we are not allowed to gather. So the question comes from a Bombay province young priest, Arun Lobo. He asked, what can we do legally? Because we know Father Stan is in Bombay. He's with us. So we feel the pain of it. Is so near yet so far. So what can we do? What can we do legally, and how can we approach? And you give us some lead.
Yeah. See, the point is there is a very fine line between legal and illegal. Now, for example, I regard Father Stan being in prison and the others as illegal. It is illegal, is unconstitutional. Is anyone listening to me? No. They are using very archaic laws, the UAPA, which has to be done away with, and so on. Now, you go to the just now, you might get permission in Bombay, okay, from the police commissioner and so on, to organize. But then in many places, like in Ahmedabad in Gujarat, you go asking permission, they will clamp section 140, 144. When you do it, as we have done before for the CAA, they will put you in police vans, they will take you in preventive detention. That will get more media coverage. Okay. So the point is obedience for a Jesuit, obedience in the church. Okay. Obedience for any man or woman of goodwill is about the ability to discern what is right. Because I can always give excuses. They won't give me permission. And that is the excuse of a coward. Okay. Go out alone, have the power of one. Because synergy is about 1 + 1 equals to more than 2. Okay, that is synergy. So take 2 friends, take 2 Jesuits, go with posters and stand outside the Taloja jail or wherever he is. Just go, get arrested. That will bring news. And yeah,
If we do that,
yeah.
will we be considered as disobedient
No, no.
from the society?
For me, no. It all depends how the provincials and so on interpret it. Okay, there were many people in the past who were considered disobedience, but here we are talking about, you know, there are great superiors in the society, great provincials. Okay, who understand. There are some who really don't understand what is happening. I have to say this very, very openly. But you see now, for example, George Pateri's letter. You see, but some are even afraid to take a stand. What will happen to you, and so on. But I'm saying is, if you're in Bombay, get a group. Let it be led by civil society. Get two or three. There are excellent people. Go to Mir Desai. Mir Desai is a colleague and one of the lawyers of Stan and the others, and ask him what can we do, and he can give suggestions. But create these links, and that is important. But I'm saying, do not be afraid. Stand up for what is right. Stand up for truth. Stand up for justice. We as Jesuits have got a mandate from the church directly. Look at what Pope Francis says, and from our society.
Yeah.
Good.
And thanks for that challenge. Thanks for the lovely challenge. Second question that I have is, what do you think? Why these guys are after an 83 years old man? What do you think might be there? Of course, we receive 100 various reasons, 100 justifications.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
knowing him as our own brother, standing up for these poor people, what do you think? Why these people are after this man?
Yes, this is what I said on India Today TV the other day. Rajdeep asked me that. He said, "Why do you think they're going after the 83?" I'm saying, for me, it's simple. They want to send a message to the Adivasis. They want to send a message. We can do it to him. He belongs to an institution, a great
Yes.
institution like the Society of Jesus, and
Yes.
fascists do it. To
Yes.
set an example, they don't take maybe a young person. They take maybe I'm not using the word for stand, but an old cock who say, and everyone says, why that? But
Yeah.
with that, it creates fear down the ranks,
Okay.
and to see if it can happen to him, an old man who has nothing, who belongs to a great institution, what more can be happening to us?
So it
You know,
means it means a threat note to the Adivasis?
Definitely. And all those who are there in civil society saying we can do it to him. If we can do it to him, who has all the, the kind of the support that he can have and generate, you who have no support, we'll bash you up and beat you up and put you in. And there will not be a whimper of protest from anyone.
Okay. And for us Jesuits, for us Jesuits, actually Jesuits in India are strong guys. We all know that. But then, of course, whether we utilize those energy and strength, we don't know. That's a different story. So in this case, in this situation, what guidelines would you like to put across to all the institutions, Jesuit institutions? Like each one, different people are doing different places, like a little fire here, little fire there, north, south, east, west, little here and there. But I personally feel that won't be enough. That won't be sufficient. How can we bring all these energies together and stand up for Stan? What lead and what guidance would you give for that?
See, John, it's very difficult for me. I'm
Yeah.
glad that the ADO, people like CG and Denzel and Anthony Dias and
Yeah.
those there at the ISI have taken a lead role with a lot of help from George Pateri and now I'm sure from
Yeah.
Stanley D'Souza. Okay, you have a nodal agency there, which is
Yeah.
important. But across the country, can we create synergies
Okay.
that provincial after provincial comes out with a statement
Yeah.
supporting Stan and protect. Get our alumni association. What are
Okay.
alumni association doing?
Okay.
Okay, tell them to come out with very strong messages, and let them sign. And there should not be any Jesuit name in that alumni association. We have hundreds and thousands of men and women who have come out from the portals of our institutions, and
Okay.
and I think we should ensure that
Okay.
get be in touch with civil society leaders, not merely NGOs, not merely human rights defenders, but people from the corporate sector. There are excellent people in Bombay. I can give you the names of them. Excellent, who are products of St. Xavier's College, who can take a stand. Rajdeep, for one, has taken a visible and vocal stand, and it's
Yes.
not easy. The amount he's being trolled and abuses that he's getting, it's tremendous. But how do we create these nexus? And finally, when we come out from the streets, okay, get not only Jesuits and sisters and so on coming out of the onto the streets, get a lot of civil society.
Civil society.
Our schools are closed just now, but I would have suggested this is what we did in Gujarat when the church in Gujarat was being attacked. In 98, 99, we closed on all our institutions. We got our schools got a thing from the DO. How do you close down your institutions and make your children go on protest? Close down your institutions. Let's close down all Jesuit institutions all over the country. Okay, even if it's token.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you, John
wonderful.
Wesley.
Okay. Yeah.
Go to other brothers. Any volunteer?
Hello, Father Cedric. This is Pingal.
Yes. Who's that?
Yeah,
Is
Pingal.
Yeah, tell me.
Often we stand, but we are not supported by judiciary, executives, legislature, and media, which is called pillars
Yes,
of
right.
democracy. So
Yes.
the other day you were in the India news, India Today news.
Yes.
How do you see at the large? Are they supportive or silent when we work for the tribal rights, injustice done to some, or stand against the human rights violation? What could be the way forward in this regard? What's your opinion, Father?
Yeah, Pingal, I agree with you, and I've said it. The judiciary has been compromised, and everywhere in the country we don't have that support, and these pillars of democracies have been denigrated, have been in a large scale been demolished. But that should not stop us. In many countries, when the fascists have taken over, can we create links? Okay, can we find a friendly media? Can we ensure that that we are on social media? Many of us are on social media, but it cannot be only good morning, good evening, good night, I love you. Can we be visible and vocal even on our Facebook pages, on Instagram, on tweeting? You just check my Facebook page, and I'm not giving you me as a model, but I take, and they're monitoring my Facebook page all the time. They're checking my tweets all the time, as they did. They tried to do it with Prashant Bhushan. Okay, but when more and more people stand up against what is happening in the country using social media, then yes, they try to find out one favorable press in Hindi. In maybe, I'm not sure which province you come from, Pingal, but maybe in Jharkhand or Madhya Pradesh or,
I'm from Madhya Pradesh.
from Madhya Pradesh. Okay. Find out a friendly media, write a small article on Stan, send it in Hindi, write in Hindi. Okay. And we will find there are I know many friendly media people who support us, who support the cause. Sometimes they have to be diplomatic for their own reasons, but otherwise, let's create inroads. Let's look for friendly lawyers, friendly judges, and there are good people in India. The vast majority of the Indians are great people. Let us not be mistaken about that. Thank you, Pingal.
Yes. Cedric,
Thank you, Father. Thank you.
I have a question.
Who
Okay.
are you?
Tell me, I'm Jubin.
Jubin, tell me, Jubin. Yeah.
Yes. What message would you like to give to those social activists who are in the provinces, who are having their social institutes? What message would you like to give them? How they can promote the solidarity for STAN?
Yeah, as social activists, I'm very clear. We have to come out. We have to be visible and vocal. A lot of our project work will be stopped. They are already throttled us with the FCRA. Okay? But, take the example of Medha Patkar. We work very closely together. And the way she has not gone with foreign money at all for years. For years. She doesn't accept it. There are lots of I work very closely with Teesta Setalvad. There is not a paise that comes from abroad to Teesta Setalvad just now. She's getting a doctorate now from one of the British Columbia universities. It's all Indian money, and some from big and rich Indians who believe in a cause, who are supporting her. And she knows She has all the list of donors. So look for local resources. It's not easy, but now we have to find a new way of being church, a new way of being Society of Jesus, a new way of being Jesuit social activists in India. But the only way we can do it is to be visible and vocal, standing up for justice and truth, Fratelli Tutti, as Pope is literally demanding from us in his latest encyclical.
Thank you. Or to,
Hello, Father.
yes,
Yes, who's
Trying to.
Frangel? Where is Frangel?
Yeah,
Frankel.
it's Father Prangle from Kerala province.
Kerala province. Okay.
See, when Father Stan was arrested, there's a
Yeah.
tendency to tell that it's part of church,
Yeah.
those issues. But the Adivasis, they are not only Christians; they are from different religions. So
Yes.
it should make it more secular. How can we get more support from the secular world? How can we make it more secular issue? That's my question.
Frangel, if you look at the media coverage, if you look, the first group that came out with a statement was the People Union for Civil Liberties. B. Suresh, who's there in Chennai, is a friend of mine. Rohit Praja. These are non-Christians. The Adivasis with whom Stan has been working perhaps were mainly animists. They were mainly perhaps Hindus. Okay, but he never looked at their religion. And as Jesuits, we cannot ever be looking at the religion of anybody at any time. We have to humanize society, bring justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity to every single citizen, very especially those who live on the margins. How do we empower them? How do we bring them up and so on? So the point is, just now, fortunately, the church is waking up because one of our own, when our interests are hurt, okay, we get up. But civil society has been working visibly and vocally, taking a stand for justice and truth for the last several years. You look, most of the people in jail, are non-Christians. Those who have been incarcerated and attacked and demonized and denigrated are Muslim activists. Look at the people from JNU. Who are the ones? Who are? Look at the example of this Gopinath Kannan, who was a former IS officer. The way he has been, what about Umar Khalid? What about here we have Jignesh Mevani, in a Dalit leader in Gujarat. These are the people who are standing up for a more equitable society. Okay, we as church, we as society, I have to admit in all humility, have done pretty little. This is the time. This is a defining moment of the history of the Society of Jesus in South Asia and particularly in India. We have to wake up now. We have to ensure that the faith justice mandate given us by GC 32, needs to be mainstream. None of us are perfect. Not even I. We're not perfect. I too like to get into my comfort zones. But unless we get out from this comfort zone, unless we take a visible and vocal stand, we will not truly have a transformed society, which we are aiming for, not merely for the release of Stan or for the others, but for a more just and equitable society in our country today.
Thank you. Or to Messi. Messi, unmute yourself.
Yeah, from YouTube, actually, all praises to Father Cedric. I actually asked them if there are any questions. I've covered most of the questions that they've asked.
Yeah.
I just for a last question, just to take a way forward, just want to ask you, Father Cedric, is like, from the legal point of view, we have spoken. From the society point of view, also we have spoken. This only Stan can answer this question, but maybe you being a social activist, you can also get in the shoes of Stan, probably what he might be going through as a Jesuit brother, 83-year-old man. The courage he had, of course, he released a video, the courage and the guts he had to, as he's willing to face. what he might be going through. Can you say something on that as an ending note?
See, I really do not know. If you read the life of Rupert Meyer, if you read even those who have been put in prison in the many great people in Maximilian Kolbe, Franciscan, and others who have suffered a lot. For a man at 83 years old to be sent to prison, I think it's terrible. I'm not sure the type of cell he is in, whether he has been given a private cell, whether there are 3 or 4 others. I'm not sure whether he's been put with rapists, with homosexuals, with murderers, and so on. We do not know what is happening there. Okay, only he can tell us when he comes. Because I know people have been sick in prison. Even a bail application has been rejected. There is this whole fear of this COVID epidemic, and he's frail. He has been sickly. I think he must be going through a terrible thing. Somehow or the other, we should convey to him that we, as his companions, his younger brother, are with him. We understand the suffering he's going through. We are not suffering like him. Understanding of suffering is different from actually suffering. We are not in his shoes. I can never be in his shoes. Okay? But can we ensure that somehow or the other we make a true connects in Bombay, go to Taloja, try to give him at least, I do not know, a little biscuit packet or something. Meet the jailer, try to connect, especially the Bombay Jesuits can do it, very easily. And I think it must be done. But just somehow or the other to convey to him that the Society of Jesus in the South Asian Assistancy, very specially his younger brothers, are there with him. And I speak it with great emotion. This is what an older Jesuit would expect from a younger Jesuit. Support, that fraternal kind of warmth, that companionship, that ability that we can accompany one another, and then talk about accompanying others. Can we do it now?
Yes.
Actually, you brought tears in my eyes, Cedric. So actually, I don't want to get into any more topics or anything else. I just want, even for all the audience who are there listening to you, I think this is what Stan must be going through, and you have put it in beautiful words that he is so close. Yet we are also here. Jesus also here. We'll be expecting something. Will my younger brothers give some support? So I think this will give motivation to all of us who are silent. Being silent at this situation, at this moment, is a crime. When we are silent, we are also supporting the guys who have arrested him. When we are silent, they're ignoring all the social evil that is going around. So I think you gave us a wake-up call, Cedric. So I just want to leave with that.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
Cedric, you have a question from Richard Pinto.
Yes, Richard.
I think I have forgotten. I think I have got an answer for my question. That what the last thing which you gave, Father Cedric. Now our involvement and what is the message that you're giving today? Because yesterday I got one message and today also I got message. Don't post. No, why are you doing all this? So no, I told he's my brother. So I feel with him. So I think as Messi told, the tears are really in me. I think all of us that we feel that our elder brother has done so much. So what can we do? What being younger brother of him, what can we do? I think you have given me already the message. I'm no so grateful. I'm sure that energy is flowing in me. What I can feel. Thank you very much, Father.
Okay, Cedric.
Thank you, Richard.
A question. What would you like to tell to this digital Jesuits, the scholastics, those who have come up with this new ministry? What you expect at this juncture from this digital Jesuit scholastics?
Yesterday in Assisi, a 15-year-old boy, Carlo, was beatified. Tomorrow is his feast day. Carlo Acutis. He was 15 years. He loved the digital world. He loved to sing. He loved to dance. He loved to, but he also brought people to Jesus. Okay, but that was in an Italian context. Okay, you digital Jesuits who have organized this program and been engaged so beautifully, so excellently, do not stop here. The digitalized world needs to be actualized. It needs to permeate the realities, the painful realities of our country. It needs to work for a transformation. Provide each other that synergy. Be available to greater causes. Network. You know, digital cannot happen without the network. Network is an IT term. Okay, network with one another and have that dedication. Have that dedication to the very end. Be together. Ensure that more and more Jesuits through the assistancy, younger Jesuits like you enter the digital world in a big way. There is that dark web, we know that, but go into the to the web of light, okay, into the web of discipleship. Take on those who are hate mongering. Use your social media, your WhatsApp, your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter, whatever social media you're in. Create little videos, create little thing. Ask, literally ask your superiors, demand literally that today the world has changed. We live in a highly digitalized world. Use it to promote the spiritual exercises, justice, liberty, equality, fraternity in our country. Take a stand digitally for Stan and for those others incarcerated with him today.
Thank you, Cedric. We have one more question from YouTube, so request Messi to go ahead.
Okay. The last question that reads is, do you think this incident and other similar signs that is happening around the country move the Jesuit leadership to reconsider entirely secular approach in Jesuit institutions?
I'm not sure what the question is. I'm saying Jesuits are always in all our institutions work with all men and women. Most of our institutions, we have non-Christians who are the majority, but I would think the leadership should take a more proactive stand, a more visible and vocal stand in keeping with our UAPs, with the mandate given by the church, in what every province is saying about the action plan. Leadership, but don't wait for the leadership. Sometimes you'll never get it from the leadership. I see it, I experience it. You begin. Don't wait for somebody else to light when you can be the fire that enkindles others, when you can be the one light wherever you are. Don't be afraid, because once you're afraid, you show that you have no longer faith in Jesus, our Lord and Master, our companion, and our brother.
Thank you. Over to Newton.
Further, I will just give an opinion to Messi. What did he ask about this Adivasi thing? That why is he doing? Or as you were saying that like it's like threatening to the Adivasis, like we can do to him and we can do to you. But when I look this same point from the other point, I find that okay, probably he was the one who is holding them together. And,
Yeah, okay.
and many were trying to intrude into that, and like he had a good shield, the well protected shield, which actually intruders were not getting chance to get into it. Okay,
Yeah.
last time in December I have visited further in Odisha, and I could see how these mine companies were taking off their lands like miles after miles. It's not about acres, it's like kilometers, miles after miles they are taking away because they are voiceless. They are voiceless. So in that way, is another point that I think we are missing. The question I have to you is that now many are blaming NIA of taking further stand. So in that way, I see another point. Like NIA isn't just an agency or agent, but who is the real culprit? Probably our focus is going, or we are focusing our arrow to somewhere else, rather focusing on the first point. Who is actually doing all these things? Actually, you're failing to focus in it. Is it really the NIA is responsible or somebody else? But in my question, who do you think is the main culprit? Who is the owner of all these things? Thank you, brother.
See, Newton, I mean, I, for one, regard the NIA as a puppet, okay, like many of our agencies. There are systems. There are people who are destroying the environment. There are people who are doing mining there. Stan has taken on all of them. He's got the people to address it. There are people who are involved in deforestation. These are powerful, powerful mafia, and some of them might have studied in our institutions. Okay. Some of them, our friends maybe today who are visiting us and giving us favors and privileges. And they would have instigated. They would have used the political nexus. I'm very clear that is not merely the NIA. These are a group of spineless men, okay, who cannot be objective, who are blinded with prejudice and so on. But there is something which is happening in society which is more powerful than the NIA. And then yes, what Jesus himself said, you take out the leader, the shepherd, and you scatter the sheep. This is what I mean. You create a fear in the ranks. You scatter them. Stan has been keeping them united, but he has also been empowering them. But once you take away Stan from the fulcrum of it, they all know that Stan is old, he's not going to live very long, and so on, then everything is going to change. It's a combination of many things, many dynamics, and many stakeholders and actors. We don't have to be naive and to think it is only one agency far away. No, it is the whole system. And we need to address the system. And many of them have been part and parcel of our educational institutions. Are we prepared to look into this reality and pay the price?
Thank you, Father.
So, thank you, Newton. So, Father, is already almost time. So, I request Messi to give the vote of thanks.
Father Cedric, I never been an emotional person or a video conference, never in my life. But today, you pricked all our conscience, and you pricked us and you challenged us. And I'm sure all our young men who are there on the screen would also agree with me. And you have been a man of action, not only in action, also in your words, powerful words. And you also stood up against people who challenged the poor. And you did, and you stand up your whole life actually. When we read your life story, when we hear, and when we hear what you've been doing, that it was itself an inspiration for us. And today, once again, you challenged us and you motivated us. And I personally feel after this session, many of our brothers in Bombay province will also join hands together. Already they are doing, but this will give all the more encouragement. This will give all the more energy to go and give a support hand to our brother Stan over there. And on YouTube, so many people, not only Stan's younger brothers, Stan's younger sisters, Stan's elder sisters, all of us are also joining hands with Jesuits, and we are with Stan. So that is a clear assurance for us today. And you have lit the fire. And pray that this fire goes on burning. May God bless us, and thank you for inspiring this evening.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Messi. Thank you,
Thank
Messi.
you, John. Thank you, Zubin.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Father Cedric, from Digital Jesuits and on behalf of JCSA, once again, a big thanks. And we assure you of our support. And we will be also asking you to come again,
Yes.
connect with people in the upcoming
Yes.
days. So, we will be
Okay.
looking for your availability, and we will look for your coming again.
Whether
Yes.
you like it or not, we are going to depend on your support.
Okay. You have my support. I am
Yes.
available. There is no doubt about that. You don't.
Yes.
I'm a Jesuit, a fellow Jesuit, and I
Yes.
have to be available for Jesuits, for the
Yes.
Society of Jesus.
And we made you
Okay.
as a digital Jesuit now.
Okay. I'm happy to be a digital Jesuit too.
Thank you, Cedric.
Good. Thank you. God bless each one of you, especially those on YouTube who have been watching this program. And thanks to each one of you who have organized this program today. I feel very energized, synergized by today. Thank you.
Thank you,
So
Cedric.
thanks to one and all. So let's end the meeting with a short prayer. Let's pause for a while and pray for Stan. May the Lord bring him back in our Jesuit companionship. May all the saints of the Society of Jesus intercede for Stan and for all our solidarity and our protest. We make this prayer through Christ our Lord. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Cedric.